Canada's Mosport Park, a place where anything can happen when the world's fastest sports cars come out to play. 2 years ago, high speed intensity at Mosport, high drama. The closest finish in American Le Mans Series history, 1,500 separating first from second. 1 year ago, Audi makes it 2 straight here. Drivers had to battle machines and Mother Nature, very tough conditions. Once again, the best are ready to race here. The Audi Panoz rivalry is set to rock Eastern Canada. At a racetrack that's seen it all. The drivers fighting for the ALMS championship know Mosport could make or break their chances for ultimate glory. The American Le Mans Series rages on. Next. NBC Sports presents the American Le Mans Series today, the mail-to-web.com Grand Prix of Mosport. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. Bill Adam is alongside. Martin Haven and Jan Beekes will be on pit road for a 7th round of the season championship. A very tough battle for the pole. Frank Biela puts the Audi #1 on the pole, 4th pole of the season for Biela and Pirro. And we'll ride with this car as we take a lap here around Mosport.
This is an awesome car, and it is really going to be a difficult one to beat. They've got it polished to the nth degree.
Alongside on the front row, the second factory Audi, Dindo Capello and Tom Kristensen. 2 wins for this team this year. And Kristensen is leading the Drivers' Championship battle. Going third, the third of the Audi R8s. Not the factory car, though. Johnny Herbert, Stefan Johansson in the ADT champion car. And we'll take a ride with Johansson to the green flag.
And I think for Johnny Herbert to be a contender in the championship this year, he must win today.
Now starting 4th here this weekend, a surprisingly strong run for one of the Cadillacs as we see Johansson cleaning the tires on the 38 car. The Cadillacs did very well. J.J. Leto puts the 8 car with Max Angelilli up in the 4th starting spot today. Let's climb on board the Cadillac.
A couple of days of testing have done great things for this team. They have both been extremely fast in every single session.
Now moving to row 3 in our starting lineup. Second of the Cadillac 900 prototypes. This is the 7, Emmanuel Collard and Eric Bernhard. And alongside in the 6th starting spot, the first of the 2 Panoz LMPs, the 50. They've won 2 races this year, Jan Magnussen and David Brabham, but you know, they've had a very difficult weekend, haven't they, Jan Beekes?
It started on Friday, Rick, first with Jan Magnussen slipping off a wet racetrack and crashing heavily into the tires. Substantial damage, but thankfully, Jan Magnussen was A-OK. The crew had to pull an all-nighter to try and fix that car. They worked all through the night and still didn't have the car ready for the practice Saturday morning. Then the crew had their hearts in their throat as David Brabham in qualifying spins off the racetrack, but thankfully he doesn't hit anything. They're able to get a good night's rest. Now, this is an important weekend for the Panoz team. They trail on the points. They desperately need a good result.
All right, thanks, John. Now here's the 4th row, the pole sitter in the 675 prototypes. John Field and Mike Duran in the Banana Joe's MG Lola, first of these cars in the field. Alongside the 2nd Panoz, the 51. This is the All-American team. Brian Hurd and Bill Alberlin out of California. The 5th row, the 11, one of the 675s, another MG Lola. Claudia Hurtgen returns to the Nighthawk team. And alongside a 900 prototype, again, the Banana Joe's team, Clint Field and Mark Newhouse. Let's look at the second 5 rows in your starting grid. 27 cars to do battle here. A huge surprise at the head of the class at GTS. It's the Celine starting 12th overall. Terry Borcheller and Franz Conrad in the 26 car. And they, too, had a very, very difficult day here on Saturday, preparing to go racing here at Mosport Park. Martin Haven, it was a weird day.
Saturday didn't start well for the Conrad Celine team. Team boss Franz Conrad lost a wheel in the practice in the morning, but it took GTS Drivers champion Terry Borchella just 1 hot lap to deny local hero Ron Fellows his record 7th consecutive GTS pole. And the Corvette driver, like a gentleman, even moved aside to allow his rival to deny him that pole position at his home track that he wanted so badly.
Now let's take a look at the next group of cars. The GT pole sitter, again from the Alex Joe McKenna Zybernaut stable, the 23 of Lucas Luhr, Sascha Maassen. Bill, Lucas Luhr's got a real problem here.
He does. He is really under the weather. Sascha is not sure if Lucas even will be driving. They've got him on all kinds of medication trying to get ready.
Now the final 7 starters, several GT cars, Schramm and Law, and one of the Kevin Buckler cars, the 675 car, Patterson, Katz, and Ross Bentley. Nearly 2.5 miles here at Mosport, a full throttle tour with Bill Adam.
Mosport is a world-class challenge with 10 turns packed into 2.5 miles. On board the ADT champion Audi with Stefan Johansson. Watch the G meter down at the bottom of the screen as we go through turn 1 here. Look, almost 2.5 Gs, and the track keeps flowing. Up ahead, a long left-hander, over the crest of the hill, downhill, and set up for the straight. It winds its way through the countryside, lots of elevation changes. Now, coming out of 3 and 4, we set up here for this long straight that leads us down to the slowest part of the track. Up ahead is Moss Corner. Heavy braking. We go all the way down through the gearbox. Set up wide here because we want to get a good exit on the straight, but the speed down to 50 miles an hour and hammer it. Here's you want to carry all the speed possible up this straight. You're going to reach over 180 miles an hour before turn 8. Over the crest of this hill, up ahead is turn 8. Heavy braking, the brake temp's soar. Turn it in very late for that apex. Try and pass this car on the inside of turn 9. Right there you set up, careful. Up ahead, turn 10, our final corner, and tight to the apex, squeeze power on and accelerate hard one more time down the start-finish straight. A wonderful track for these cars.
40 laps of history here, very challenging track. Bill, our Old Spice speed lines today.
Well, number 1, you can't beat a winner, and Audis are winning right now, but Dyson, bringing all their experience, can they finally make the 675 live up to its potential? Celine upsetting Corvette, but they still have to show reliability. And finally, the Alex Job team have put on an incredible display of battling all year long. We can look forward to another one today.
A lot of stories to show you. We have 3 more onboard looks for you today. We'll take a ride on the Yes Network Orbit Porsche with Peter Barron and Leo Hendry. They line up 5th in GT, 24th overall. Another GT Porsche, Kevin Buckler's Racers Group car, the Adobe Road Vineyards machine. He starts in 4th in GT. And James Weaver back of the grid for this brand new MG Lola from the Dyson Racing Squad, moving to the 675s. And Bill, they were very quick in the morning warm-up.
Extremely fast. We have seen a lot of signs, but we're getting close to green.
The Audi's on the front row, the 38 car with Stefan Johansson, the 2 Cadillacs, Panos, and then the John Field Banana Joe's MG Lola. Green is in the air. Glad you're with us on NBC Sports. Down into turn 1 and the Audi's lead.
Well, look at the Cadillac. One of the Cadillacs tried to go up the outside of the champion car. Should have the outside line going through turn 2. Or sorry, leading up to turn 2.
What a great look.
That is so fast right there. Yes, and Cadillac did grab 3rd place.
2 Audis run 1st and 2nd. One of the Cadillacs in 3rd. The ADT champion Audi, that's the white car with Johansson. The 1 car, Biela and Pirro out in front. Number 8, J.J. Leto, that's the silver and black Cadillac prototype. Big news from that stable this weekend. We'll have more on that a little later. Up top, your Audi running order. Heading toward the backstretch.
First time up this straight. This is a long climbing straight here where horsepower is really bringing. One of the surprising things in talking to the Caddy guys, they were saying that their car did not get off the corners as quickly as the Audis. Up through the mid-range and top end, they are as fast or even faster, but just getting right off. They don't have that quite quick pickup, but this is very encouraging for the Cadillac right now. 3rd place running strongly ahead of the ADT champion car.
2nd Cadillac is 5th. Leto sits 3rd. Up onto the front stretch to complete lap 1.
Well, J.J. Leto has had a mixed time here at Mosport. We can remember a few years ago when he came here with the BMW team, they actually refused to run the race. Leto thought that it was too dangerous a track.
Yeah.
Now he's having a good time in this Cadillac, although sadly it's not going to be for all that much longer.
Cadillac team, their 3-year program expires at the end of the season at Petit Le Mans, and it will not continue past that point. There's the 50 car. David Brabham, Jan Magnussen, 2 wins for the Panos lead car this year, but it's been a trouble-filled weekend, as Jan Beekes told us a few moments ago. They are just trying to get on track. They are 6th, and they really haven't found any speed yet this weekend.
They have not. All of the drivers have said that this might be their low point for the whole year, and the drivers and crew are kind of all hanging their head a little bit in frustration that every once in a while when they hit a track that this car works well at, it is immensely competitive. Just really a great car and a huge crowd favorite every place they go. But here, with the bumps of Mosport being in critical areas, for example, at the end of turn 1, right where you've got your foot down flat, you're trying to carry all that hard acceleration, you go over the bumps, the car is chattering, very much like what a go-kart does, and I guess it's just scaring the devil out of the drivers.
Claudia Hurtgen steering the Nighthawk number 11, one of the 675s. They're sitting 9th overall. Now up the backstretch there as the leader, Biela, continues to open up the advantage over Capello and the Audi number the 2 car, the yellow trim machine. back a little further in the field, we were saying that Brabham was 6th. He was passed by John Field in the 675 car. And here comes the 16 with James Weaver making his way through the field. 20th overall, so in a lap he gained 7 spots, Bill.
Yeah, I think James actually, even though that looks pretty spectacular, he's being cautious right now. Now, this is great. This is on board with the helmet cam inside James Weaver. That is what he's seeing right now, going over the top of 2.
He's closing up behind the Archangel 675 car. Ben
He's going to get him.
To the inside.
Dropped a couple of gears. Just twitching a little bit over the bumps. That looks pretty good, actually. Remember back to Sebring, Johnny Kane in that car just bouncing from bump to bump. And right now, it's going to be very interesting to watch the Dyson team develop this car.
This has a brand new motor in it today. They were very quick here earlier this week with this brand new car. First time out yesterday, barely ran at all. They had a throttle problem, decided to put a new motor in today, and it seems to have worked very well.
Yeah, look at our BBS telemetry here. At the bottom of the screen, you see is 150. There's 160 miles an hour. We're still not at the top of the straight, so this is very quick. Look at him looking around a little bit. That's probably he's checking the mirrors just to make sure everything's okay back behind him.
Dyson's team, of course, the first American Le Mans Series championship team in 1999, just 3 years ago in the 900 prototypes with that legendary Riley and Scott Mark 8 that's been around so many years.
You see, now right there, that's the gear shift that James is using. I actually saw him use the heel of his hand making a downshift. He just took the right hand off and just gave it a little flick with the heel to knock it down a gear.
Weaver just grabbed 12th spot, swooping inside the Jeff Bucknam 56 car, the Fairy Tale Brownies Team Bucknam entry. There is the 19 car with Ross Bentley, a couple of the GT Porsches. The Cycle Motorsport team is here with Hugh Plum driving that car that we see at Le Mans every year. And back up in front, Frank Biela nearly 2 seconds ahead of his teammate Dindo Capello. Biela is out in front, lapping traffic already. Weaver in that Dyson 675 car, though, is coming like a house of fire. Pole sitter onto the front stretch here at Mosport Park. Huge crowd, perfect weather today, air temperature about 80 degrees. The biggest crowd I can remember seeing in some 15 years of coming to this racetrack in Ontario. So Biela is your leader. We'll be back with more on NBC Sports. Welcome back to coverage of the American Le Mans Series here on NBC Sports. Today, the mail2web.com Grand Prix of Mosport. What a terrific battle in the 675 prototypes, Bill Adam. Point leader John Field behind the wall with problems, but here you have 2 of the MG Lolas. Claudia Hurtgen in the Nighthawk car. James Weaver from the back of the grid in the brand new Dyson entry.
Well, Claudia is very impressive right now. She is driving this car very aggressively, but really, really quickly. James is also pushing hard. Their lap time's almost identical, and the only difference I've seen James being very cautious in passing some of the slower traffic.
There was some talk that perhaps they had a gearbox problem in the 16, that James wasn't able to flat shift the car, keep the throttle down.
Yeah, although it's really not something that's going to be a huge difference. The gearbox is when you do shift at flat throttle, it's designed to change in just literally hundredths of a second. Well, if you lift off, it may be fractionally longer, but as far as hurting it long term, no, I don't think so.
Weaver up the backstretch, trying to get a run on Hurtgen. The slower GTS car, the Coca-Cola Olive Garden Ferrari, the green 550. Oh, a puff of smoke out of the back of the 16.
Smoke, and he's slowing. Weaver is slowing. Oh, he's way off the pace now. There's his hand up in the air, warning traffic.
Just as James Weaver looked as though he was going to take a run at Claudia Hurtgen for the 675 lead, he's got a problem, serious problem.
Well, no fluid coming out the back. That's good news. So he's not messing up the track there, but James is, I don't know if he's coasting or not.
So Weaver, obviously no power to the Thetford Norcold Goodyear 60. Oh, listen to that.
Yeah, listen, Rick.
Weaver's helmet cam, you can hear the engine audio obviously not running properly at all.
James, what a great run he was having, too.
He's got the visor up. He shut the car off. Pat Smith and the Dyson crew ready to jump the wall and see if they can figure out what's wrong. Now, the AER engineers are here. We told you this was a semi-factory effort, brand new for the Dyson team. There's Chris Dyson there. He had the pit board.
Oh, and this is kind of strange, too, that there's fellows out fueling, and you see a fire extinguisher at the back, but there's nobody plugging the car. Oh, here he comes now. That's him coming right there with the electronics in the background. He's going to plug it in to see what's wrong, but he seemed to do that at a very leisurely pace.
Show you again what happened here as the cars were racing up the backstretch again. In the 675 prototype category, the Nighthawk car, the 11, And there's the Dyson machine.
You just saw that just little puff, not even a big one like a turbo blowing or anything like that, but almost just like a wisp out the back.
And we told you at the top of the broadcast, one of the big stories here was the reliability of this car and all of these MG Lolas. Now, James Weaver's out of the race car. As the crew continues to work, he's standing by with the unbeacons.
Yes, James, we heard you on pit road. We could hear the sound. What do you think is the problem?
That was coming up the back straight, and all of a sudden the engine tightened up. So I suspect it's run the bearings. It looks like there's no oil in the oil tank, but quite where it's gone, we're not quite sure.
Now, I see that Butch has his helmet on. Are you thinking about, I mean, it's not a case where you can add oil and get back in, right?
No, we thought we were hoping it wasn't too serious, so we just changed drivers, but it looks like it's terminal, so that's it.
Now, you had a great run through the field. How much fun for you?
Great fun. Yeah, I always love it. And this is a fantastic track, one of the best tracks you can race on.
And how about your new car?
We're very pleased with it. It's got a very bright future.
Well, I hope that future and that win comes soon. Thanks.
Thanks.
Now remember, we told you before, they had just put a new motor in that car this morning. As we take a look at the overall race leader, Dindo Capello. Now coming to NBC Tuesdays this fall from the producers of Frasier, brand new comedy about newlyweds. We begin with In-Laws. It's called In-Laws, Tuesdays this fall here on NBC. Capello has opened up about a second lead over Frank Biela, the pole sitter, his teammate, in the Team Yost factory Audi, the one car.
And wouldn't he like to do 2 in a row in Canada? We saw that. The wonderful celebration at Trois-Rivières 2 weeks ago, spinning the donuts at the end of the race, and he was full of joy at that moment. So
Tom Kristensen will get in the car later. Kristensen is the points leader overall in the 900 prototypes. Now, in the GTS category, all season it's been pretty much a Corvette show. They won at Le Mans again right now in GTS. As we take a look at the board, Ron Fellows has the 3-car 9th overall, Borcheller, and then the second Corvette.
Terry is very close in that, Celine, and it's a very interesting battle of Chevrolet versus Ford and Goodyear versus Pirelli. It really is good. You know, and funny, too, Terry being the perfect spokesman. I was talking to him just this morning before he got in the car and asked him about the differences, and he said, well, it's the K&N filters, of course. So, good one, Terry. You got your plug in there for your sponsor.
Your GTS running order, top of the screen, is one of the Cadillacs swings by the Corvette, heading toward turns 8, 9, and 10 to wrap another lap here at Mosport. And there's the Celine. They got on the pole here this weekend. We told you the story at the top of the broadcast, and a lot of hope that they might be able to score a win. J.J. Leto, meantime, in the Cadillac the 8, trying to get a run on Biela for second spot.
This is great. I'm so pleased to see JJ having a really good run, and happy for the whole team. Gee, they have done such a great job developing this car. To think about the bravery that it would take to try and take a company like Cadillac with no real experience in motorsport and then go up against the best in the world, it's enormous.
Here's a look at just how tight that was a moment ago. Look at how close Leto gets here. A slower 675, slowing up the one car.
Yeah, and that could easily come to play later on in the race. And Leto wisely decided to back off. He is on the outside edge of turn 3 right there, where there's very little grip.
On board as the Cadillac comes up the front straightaway. And you can see what a role traffic plays from 4.3 seconds down to under a second in one lap.
Passing by the Olive Garden Ferrari right there. Now coming up to turn 2. This wickedly fast downhill. Look at JJ gets right out wide. It's a double apex corner, turn 2. You have to let the car get wide, even though every instinct in your body is saying don't go to that far edge, but you've got to do it to make it quickly.
Moving by Peter Barron on the 43 car, the S Network Porsche. As we take a look at our overall top 10, it's Capello leading Biela and Leto at Mosport. We'll be back. Welcome back, the American Le Mans Series here on NBC Sports. From Mosport Park in Canada, coverage of the mail2web.com Grand Prix at Mosport. Under caution, full course for the second time today, because there was contact on the racetrack between one of the American Viper Racing Vipers, Marino Franchitti, in the 45. Got into the back end of one of the prototype machines. This is the Banana Joe's Lola in the 900 prototypes. Watch this hit.
Yeah, and I think Marino was being hopelessly optimistic, thinking he could slow that Viper down faster than an LM900. Just not a prayer. And you saw him at the last minute, locked up the tires, smoke off the rubber. But boy, he did nail that car hard.
Mark Newhouse driving the 30. As we watch Franchitti bring the Viper on pit road with heavy front end damage to that car. Leaders on pit road as well. The champion car is in, one of the 675s, the Archangel car. Franchitti brings the car to a stop. Leaders on pit road also. Let's get it downstairs. Martin Haven.
Tom Kristensen leaves the pits with a fresh set of tyres on. So too will the number 1 car of Emanuele Pirro. Wholesale driver changes. Both Audis have changed, and they have taken tyres, and that's bad news for the 50 Paynos. By changing just before the yellow, they have track position, but they stayed on their old tyres. Changes too for the Alex Job Porsches. Lucas Luhr, who has just been looking after his body, now has to do 10 minutes to score points. Jan Beekers has more at Cadillac.
Yeah, and some big developments down here for Team Cadillac. First of all, the 7 Cadillac pitted when the pits were closed. There'll be a penalty coming for them. And then J.J. Leto brought his car in, and all they wanted was fuel. It should only have taken 25 seconds. He was here for 45 seconds. He was gesturing in the car, could not figure out why it was taking so long. They were not going to change drivers. They were not going to change tires. He should have come out in the lead. He lost it because the fuel would just not flow.
Wow, what a tough break for the Cadillac team. They're just snake-bitten. They want a great finish here today at Mosport as their 3-year program starts to wind down. They've got 4 more races looking for a win today. Hey, mark your calendars. 5 weeks from today, Sunday, September 22nd, we'll be at Monterey, California on NBC. The American Le Mans Series, the Monterey Sports Car Championships at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Hope you can join us. Bill and I will be there with Martin and Jan and our entire crew as the season prepares to get to the final stages. The decision for the championship will come down to Laguna Seca. We'll be there on NBC. Final 2 races of the year, the Grand Prix of the Americas in Miami on October 5th. That's a Saturday. And then Audi presents Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta, Braselton, Georgia the following week on Saturday, October 12th. 1,000 kilometers, always a great battle. So 3 races left after today to decide the 4 category championships. There's Newhouse in the 30, getting ready to go green. Once again, green is back in the air. Here comes the Paynos, trying to bust to the front of the pack down into turn 1.
And I think a wise move. He wanted to try and take advantage of getting by the slower traffic as quickly as possible and then hope that this battle back here with all the Audis really slows them all down.
Now we're getting word from race control from the IMSA folks that the number 7 Cadillac will be assessed a penalty of more than a minute 12 seconds. We're coming down onto pit road while pits were closed. Back on board with Leto.
Boy, look how frustrating this is right now. Trying to get by all the traffic. This is like your downtown traffic. You're trying to get by all these slow cars, can't get any clear road.
I think he got by Pirro there. Boy, here comes Leto. Here's Pirro. Take a ride in the 1 car.
Flying down the outside, down turn 4. A very high-risk move. Pulled it off beautifully.
Now Eric Bernhardt in the 7 being shown as the leader, but remember, they are going to be penalized.
Boy, oh boy. Now watch the brake temperature at the top of the straight. Right now, things are cool on those carbon brakes, but as soon as he gets up over this little hump right there and then gets under heavy braking, watch this. Look at how quickly this thing picks up temperature. Yeah. It gains hundreds of degrees in a fraction.
Up onto the front straightaway here at Mosport.
I'll tell you, I'm impressed again with the North Star motor. The Cadillac is really pulling off the corners very strongly. Whoops, did not get a good run off that one, though.
Working on Bernhardt in the 7 for 3rd, and Pirro blows by him. Tom Kristensen now driving the 2 car for Audi. He is the leader. Off the restart, he got by Leto. There was that huge pack of traffic going down into turns 2 and 3 here at Mosport.
Once more back down 4. This is the hairpin again. Double apex corner. We're through the 1st, and there is the 2nd.
Up the backstretch. 43 laps complete. 1 car smoking down the front straightaway, but Kristensen in the deuce is out in front. Remember the 7 Bernhardt shown 3rd, but he's got a 12-second penalty coming to pit road when the pits were closed during that caution.
Yeah, that's going to hurt so much because you look at the time in, time out, a 1:12, that's a lap. So that effectively kills his chances.
A Cadillac running order, top of the screen, and here comes Bernhardt to serve the penalty. A 1-lap penalty, essentially. Kristensen in the Audi number 2 is your leader. Leto is 2nd to Jan Beekers.
Of course, when the pits were closed, Emmanuel Collard was at the wheel. Now, I understand you saw no closed pit sign.
No, I can't say anything. I watched, they said in the briefing, turn 9 we see a pit close, the sign, and nothing was there, so I came in.
And you had been told on the radio that it was close, so therefore you were looking extra careful. Is that correct?
Yes, I don't know exactly what's happened now, but I think we have 1 lap off, so it's bad for the race.
How was the car up until that point?
Yeah, it was not so bad. Just to overtake, it's very difficult because you have to go outside the line, and then you get the dirty track, and it's very difficult on the tires.
All right, sorry you got the penalty.
Thanks.
Well, Bernhard and Collard sitting on pit road. Bernhard driving the car. He falls to 5th. Johnny Herbert takes the ADT champion. Audi passed into 4th while the penalty's being served. But the team car, J.J. Leto, still up in 2nd, Bill, and he said he had a good car he could race this weekend.
He definitely, yeah, he's got to be happy with that car right now, and he's going very quickly. I wanted to bring up one other point, is that sometimes on a penalty like this, like a minute penalty, when you get that, the heat sink problem. As that Cadillac 900 sits there in the pits, the heat sink can affect brakes, engine temperature, oil temperature, everything. So the residual damage may be something that's building up and we don't know about.
Heavy traffic there as the 2 cars. Kristensen tries to get by Peter Barron in the Yes Network Porsche, one of the GT contenders. Going by the Archangel 675 car. Kristensen sorts his way through the traffic. We'll be back with more of the American Le Mans Series, the mail-to-web.com Grand Prix of Mosport, after these words from our local NBC stations. It's the American Le Mans Series on NBC Sports. Today, the mail-to-web.com Grand Prix of Mosport. From Mosport Park in Canada with Bill Adam, Iberick Benjamin, Martin Haven, and Jan Beekes are on pit road for us today. 56 laps complete. The overall lead belongs to Tom Kristensen in car number 2. Kristensen started in 2nd spot today. Dino Capello opened in that car. Kristensen took over during the first fuel stop, and he has opened up a lead of about a 9/10 of a second over his teammate in car number 1, Emanuele Pirro. You can see Pirro in the red-trimmed Audi just coming up the hill toward turn 1. There's the 2 Audis, the 2nd car moving by the Ferrari, the Zero Olive Garden GTS car, and also the Archangel 675 car with an hour and a half left in the run here at Mosport today. Your overall running order up top of your screen, our Porsche running order for you. Here comes Kristensen. In GT, a very interesting battle. The Alex Job Porsche team, of course, one of their cars damaged in an incident earlier. Lucas Luhr is still in the 23 car. Now, we told you at the top of the broadcast, he and his teammate Sascha Maassen. Luhr has been sick just about all weekend. He's getting about set, we believe, to get out of that race car and pass the seat over to Sascha Maassen. They have a good lead in GT.
The plan, Lucas Luhr has been rehydrated all morning. He's been on a drip in the medical office because he was chronically under the weather this morning. He has to do a minimum of 10 minutes in the car to be eligible for championship point scoring wherever the car may finish. Now, he was due to come in, and replacement driver Mike Fitzgerald was about to get in. But as you can see, Fitzgerald is looking relaxed because now he's in the car and the adrenaline is pumping. Lucas is saying, right, I'm going to try and stay here and do a full stint so we don't ruin our chances of an outright victory. Now that is gutsy.
Up the back straightaway, the Cycle Motorsports Porsche in GT. Very much in the hunt today. The Cycle car is 3rd in GT. The GT lead belongs to Alex Job's McKenna Zybernaut 23 car. Now their team car, the 22, Bernhard and Bergmeister, they've been on pit road for quite some time. They're at the back of the field in GT. Lucas Luhr soldiering on, not feeling well. And Bill, to drive one of these cars is difficult anyway. To do it when you're very sick, very tough.
It's always interesting, I think, what adrenaline can do. And to recall back to Adelaide a couple of years ago when Alan McNeish really badly hurt his back, could barely stand in the pits, and yet jumped in the R8, did a double stint, and went on to win the race. It was just spectacular. You get so caught up. Your concentration has to be such a high level, and quite frankly, the enjoyment.
There's the S Network car, the 43. Peter Barron still running in GT. Brian Cunningham sharing the 66 with Kevin Buckler, the mail-to-web.com Racers Group Porsche. Right behind the number 8, J.J. Leto, 3rd overall in the Cadillac. Cunningham doing a nice job. His 2nd drive in the 66 car, sharing with Buckler. As we jump on board the 66, Bill, now Kevin Buckler we'll get in this car in a little while. He too is hurting today.
Yeah, Kevin has a couple of broken ribs from a crash back at Watkins Glen, and we even invited Kevin to come out and play with us the other night. He wisely chose not to come go-karting because the damage to his ribs could have been pretty severe based on the way that some of us drove. No names mentioned.
One of them, a tall fellow from England who works on pit road for us.
He could be the lethal weapon of the future.
Your Porsche digital pilot as Cunningham takes us for a ride down toward Moss Corner.
Kevin, another one of the drivers that just has enjoyed this track so much. It is such a beautiful track to drive on, and when you get your car set up properly, very technical, very difficult, very challenging, and it's very satisfying when you do it right.
Buckler's Racers Group team just picking up the mail-to-web.com backing here a short time ago. They've won Le Mans this year. They've had other major victories in GT, and Kevin himself in line for perhaps taking the very prestigious Porsche Cup honors.
That's the 43 car right there. Now, they are 5th in class, running right behind Buckler, so that gives you an idea of just where they are. Peter Barron is currently on board that car.
Leo Hindry will take over that car a little later on. You see backing there from...
What is this, the Michelin Man?
I think so. It's a Michelin car.
Maybe he wants to do one of those ads on TV. You see the little Michelin Man bobbing around until the guy starts driving his car. So.
Overall running order up top of your screen. Coming up next on NBC, don't miss one of the major stepping stones for the U.S. Open Championships. It's the RCA Championships from Indianapolis. In action today, Greg Grudzinski and Felix Mantilla battle it out for the title in the men's tennis final. Don't miss the RCA Championships. It's next here on NBC. Barron working under the Continental Bridge. One of the Panos is whistling by. Tom Kristensen is your leader by nearly 3 seconds as we show you the top runners in GT. We'll be back. NBC Sports coverage of the American Le Mans Series, the mail-to-web.com Grand Prix at Mosport, is being brought to you today by Porsche. What only a Porsche brings to driving. And by new high-endurance clear gel from Old Spice. Alongside Bill Adam, I'm Rick Benjamin from Mosport Park in Canada. 77 laps complete. Tom Kristensen leading in car number 2, one of the Team Yost Audis. They started second today alongside their teammate car, the one, the red trim machine you see right there. Being driven by Emanuele Pirro, and that's the gap, about 0.3 of a second. Last time by start finish with 77 laps complete on a picture-perfect day in front of the largest crowd here at Mosport Park in 25 years, Bill, since Formula One ran here in 1977.
I'm suffering withdrawal symptoms today. Just watching these cars go around this place, which is my home track as well as Ron Fellows. It's just, boy, it's so nice to be back here and see a big crowd like this come out for the ALMS.
Lots of action. We've had a couple of full course cautions, heavy traffic around here. The fans have certainly gotten their money's worth. It's been quite a show so far. We've got a long way to go here, but the two Audis really have been flawless.
They have, and I think watching both drivers, they're both in such a groove, such a very nice rhythm that they're driving smoothly, yet very quickly. So it shows that the cars are well set up. They're not having to battle the cars at all. And right now, they're just going through traffic as smoothly as they can.
Coming up on the two GTS contenders, the Celine, the number 3 Corvette. Kristensen just worked his way by the blue car at the back of this group of 5. That's Jeff Bucknam's Team Bucknam, the Fairy Tale Brownies car. They are the 675 category leaders. Now, we talked earlier about the MG Lolas, how fast they are. All 3 of them have had mechanical problems. 2 of the 3 are behind the wall. And the Bucknam entry has gone to the head of the class once again. Jeff is 3rd in the 675 Drivers' Championship. And Sternberg driving the number 13, the Archangel entry with the Millington 4-cylinder power plant. Melanie Patterson is 6 laps back, 3rd. She and Howard Katz and Ross Bentley driving the yellow number 19 car, the Essex Racing entry here today. Melanie from Canada, her 2nd start in American Le Mans competition. She's done a nice job, but here's Jeff Bucknam again. The attrition rate certainly has benefited the Team Bucknam entry. Now we'll take a look a few moments ago. The Nighthawk 675 car, the 3rd of the MG Lolas to have trouble today. They were all alone out in front, and all of a sudden we saw a little bit of smoke starting to show out of the back of the car. Sadly,
this is something we've seen before. You look underneath that corner, there was a fire burning right back in this area here. They were able to get back into the pits without a great deal of damage, but they had a lot of problems with that car at Le Mans. A huge fire. They had a problem back at Sears Point Road America earlier this year with a fire as well. So they still have details to work on this fast but fragile race car.
As as Bucknam leads. The 11th car apparently back out of the racetrack, but back in 23rd spot. Now getting an indication the car may be behind the wall for some service work. And there's Jeff Bucknam working his way up the backstretch all alone. He's got a big advantage right now in the 675 category. Second spot belongs to that 13. Marc-Antoine Cameron from Three Rivers, Quebec, has gotten into the 13 car, but he is 3 laps down right now to Bucknam. Bucknam is all alone. You got a glimpse of the Celine there, second in GTS. Team owner Franz Conrad driving the 26 car as Bucknam brings his car up onto the front straightaway. There's Conrad in the Celine. So Bucknam leading the 675s. Huge gathering here at Mosport Park. Kristensen is your leader. We'll be back on NBC. Welcome back live to Mosport Park in Canada. Coverage of the American Le Mans Series here on NBC Sports, the mail-to-web.com Grand Prix of Mosport. Under caution, full course for the third time today because of a big incident coming toward pit road. Car number 1, the Audi that was running second, Emanuele, Pirro, and Bill. It looked as though he tried to turn into pit road. Instead, something happened. He got into the tire barrier, and now the medical crews are on the scene. This is such an unusual area for this sort of a head-on impact to take place. It's very close to where Jan Magnussen had his incident in the Panos in the wet practice session. But for something like this to have hit that far up the wall, I mean, pit entrance is only right up here. It almost looks like maybe the unthinkable happened, that maybe something broke on the car and pulled him off. You would think so, because those cars and drivers not known for errors or technical problems, that sort of thing, but we'll wait and see. Certainly, Martin Haven, you're in the Audi pits.
Yeah, worried faces, guys, but the good news is that Emanuele Pirro has been on the radio. He's fine but winded, so the medical crew obviously in attendance. One of the things that has helped the drivers, him and Jan Magnussen in practice, is of course they're using the hands, the head and neck system to protect themselves in an impact. But one of the side effects of it is it does seem to kind of wind you a lot, so they sit there breathless for a moment, which obviously gets everybody worried. Now, in the interim, the number 1 car has come back into the pits, and that has made a 4-tire change. They've got a battle, of course, for the lead with the champion Audi, and they have made their change and their final fuel stop under the safety.
Tom Kristensen leading the race in the number 2, the number 1 Audi, the car that you see there being worked on right now. And there is the 2 car with Kristensen. They started second here today. Kristensen leading the Drivers' Championship. Dindo Capello started that car, did a great job, flawless. They've won a couple of races this year, and they are the overall leader. Jan Beekes, the ADT champion Audi R8, though, they could be in great shape here in the final hour.
Yeah, that's true. You heard Martin say that the factory Audi changed 4 tires. Not the case for the 38. They decided just to give Johnny Herbert fuel. He had just served a stop-and-go penalty for contact out on the racetrack, so this full course caution came at a perfect time for him. He can catch up some lost ground.
Stefan Johansson started the 38 car today from 3rd spot on the grid. They backpedaled. They've had their problems today. Herbert's had contact with a couple of other cars on the racetrack, but right at the moment, things may be falling their way. One of the cars they had contact with, at number 0, the Olive Garden Ferrari right behind. Huge crowd on hand. Biggest crowd here in 25 years. We'll be back with more at Mosport. Back at Mosport, show you how we got to this point. Green flag, the 2 Audis, and the champion Audi battling for lead with the Cadillac of J.J. Leto. Heavy traffic into turn 1. Here's another sampling of the heavy traffic. Contact between the 2 car of Kristensen and one of the Alex Joe Porsches. Great battle developing in the 675s. The new Dyson car blew up, though. And another incident going down to the Moss corner. One of the Vipers contacting the Lola. The Nighthawk MG was leading the 675 category. They had a small engine fire. Johnny Herbert had to come to pit road in the ADT champion car. A couple of incidents of contact. He's been penalized. The second one there when he spun the Olive Garden Ferrari coming out of the front straightaway. Almost a question as to whether perhaps the driver of the Ferrari didn't see Herbert trying to come through on the inside of turn 10. That's how we got to where we are now, inside 45 minutes of racing remaining. Full course caution for the incident involving car number 1, Emanuele Pirro, a few moments ago at the entrance to pit road coming to turn 10. You saw the leader, Tom Kristensen, in car number 2. Second for the restart, Johnny Herbert and the champion ADT Audi, the 38 car. And Pirro has been taken to the infield care center for a precautionary check. Martin Haven told us a few moments ago he'd been talking to the crew on the radio, seemed to be fine. That one car, heavy damage in Bill. Obviously the tub is damaged. The right front of the car pushed back into the tub.
Right there. Look at the amount of compression. Everything has been driven back in that kind of direction. So that's a huge impact, because all up through here, this foot box is really designed for compression in the event of a frontal impact. It stood up pretty well. You can see like the nose, very little mark on it right there, but that wheel is really back. So I'm still curious. I wonder if something broke causing that accident rather than him just making a mistake.
Now, this is the car that won the 24 Hours of Le Mans back in June. There's the Cadillac car number 8. J.J. Leto driving that car, and Max Angelilli. They've had problems on pit road. And Audi referred to as the tank. Show you just a little bit of what the difference can be if your team can pull off great pit stops. The Audi bunch, 24 seconds better on pit road than the Cadillac team has been for car number 8. Jan, because there's a reason for that, isn't there?
Well, there is. You certainly can't blame that on the team or their practice. For some reason on the 8 car, the fuel would just not flow. It happened in the first pit stop and in the second. It's supposed to take about 25 to 30 seconds to get a full load of fuel. It took 45 seconds both times. They have taken apart their fuel rig. They've looked at the hoses. They can find nothing wrong. And it's just a mystery down here. It's only one car. The other Cadillac was fine.
J.J. Leto had the 8 car up in second earlier. Max Angelilli has the car third. Now, a race car can't achieve its best performance if all 4 wheels aren't lined up correctly. Bill Adam now with our Cadillac Tech Fact, showing how the team lines up that race car.
One of the endless challenges for all of the teams in the American Le Mans Series is to find that perfect suspension setting, to get things as accurate as possible, and thereby keep the tires firmly planted on the road at all times, not left in corners and not giving away traction. For the Cadillac team, they use an interesting system. They use this plate on in place of the actual tire. They bolt it on and then carefully measure from the leading edge here to this string out here, and from the trailing edge of the string, they can take their measurements. If the distance is greater here than back here, they know they have toe in. The wheels are pointed at each other. If the distance is more, then it's pointed out. That's a toe out situation. It's very critical, and they try to get things as accurate as 2/1000ths of an inch, 0.1 of a mil basically. And if you don't get it, well, you just might wind up with a car that handles like a dog.
Well, they're handling pretty well today, I would say. The 8 cars we said has been up in second spot. Angelilli will restart the car in third here in a moment. And coming to NBC on Sundays this fall from the writer of Band of Brothers and Speed, a drama with the most unique storytelling style on television. It's Boomtown, Sundays this fall here on NBC. Under caution, third time today for the full course yellow. We'll be back with more of the American Le Mans Series mail-to-web.com Grand Prix of Mosport after these words from our local NBC station. NBC Sports presents the American Le Mans Series. Today, the mail-to-web.com Grand Prix of Mosport. We are live at Mosport Park in Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada, looking for a restart. Safety car has the lights turned out. Field has received the indication the green will reappear this time by after a hard wreck involving car number 1, one of the 2 Yost factory Audis, the red trim car, Emanuele Pirro, stuffing that car into a tire barrier just before the entrance to pit road a few moments ago, and Pirro out of the car for the mandatory trip to the infield care center. But as Martin Haven told us, he was talking to his team on the radio before he was removed from that car. Heavy damage to the car that won the 24 Hours of Le Mans back in June, that red trim number 1 that they refer to as the tank. Alongside Bill Adam, I'm Rick Benjamin. Glad to have you with us. Beautiful Sunday afternoon. The RCA Championships men's tennis final coming up at the conclusion of our coverage here today. And 5 weeks from today, Bill, the next event for this series will be at Laguna Seca, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, for the Monterey Grand Prix. Looking forward to that trip.
Yeah, 2 of our favorite tracks in the entire continent. Both just so beautiful, and both quite different.
Yeah. Beautiful layout by the sea at Laguna Seca, and very competitive, very high-speed racetrack with the world-famous corkscrew. Looking for a restart here. Coming up on about 35 minutes of racing. 2 of the 675 cars, the category leader there, the 56. Willman at the wheel of that car. Marc Antonio Camarand just behind him. And look at the traffic into 1. Here comes Angelilli in the Cadillac trying to make up some ground.
I also saw Johnny Herbert right there. You see him on the inside in the champion ADT car. He has got to try and stay ahead of Tom Kristensen. Now, we are showing that right now Kristensen is a lap ahead, and yet he is only about maybe 10 cars behind Johnny on the track, so that could be a 2-lap.
Here comes.
Basic. There he is right there. You just see him.
Yep, Herbert
right behind the Cadillac.
in front of Angelilli in the 8th car. And stuck back there is the deuce. Kristensen trying to shove his way past Angelilli.
Boy, I thought he hit him there.
He did. Who says there's no full contact excitement in road racing?
The Martin Havens School of Kart Driving. That's... Boy, oh boy. Tom does not want to knock one of those little winglets off by this, but I think he really wants to put a nail in the coffin, because if he can get by Johnny or even get up on the tail to rattle Johnny into a mistake, that's basically just putting it all away.
There have been a couple of incidents this afternoon involving the ADT champion car. Herbert has made contact with a couple of other race cars and has served a stop-and-go penalty for that. That's one of the things that's contributed to the 1-lap gap right now between the 2 lead cars.
Yeah, and you see also Kristensen appears to be just closing up very fast right now on Herbert.
In clean air, the 2 cars obviously superior, but as we saw a moment ago, there's the thought that the Audis are invincible doesn't always work out that way. Pirro with that wreck just a few moments ago at the entrance to pit road.
Blue flag waving.
Kristensen moving by the Archangel 675 car, the black, red, and white car that you see there. Here's another look at that contact a moment ago. Take a look at the left. Kristensen in the caddy.
Back there, and you saw that the left front corner of Kristensen's car probably hit the backs of Max's Cadillac.
Nearly ran out of road and went off there. Now, if Kristensen had gone off there,
boy,
that would have spelled the end of his day, perhaps.
That would have been the same place he went off last year, except on the other side of turn 3.
A year ago here, there was rain much of the weekend, and we started the race under wet track conditions. Several cars went off in the first few laps. And Herbert on the tail end of the lead lap, we're being told. So if he gets passed here by Kristensen, that would put him a lap down. With coming up on half an hour to go, Herbert cannot afford this at all.
Interesting little blink of the brakes there in the back of Kristensen's car, just going up over the crest. I wonder if that was just maybe a reflection of the sun, but he's closing quickly. This should be actually fun to watch. A pair of really highly qualified drivers, and you can bet that Johnny Herbert, Formula One driver here, does not want to get past.
Kristensen, many regard him as the best sports car racer in the world. 3 consecutive wins in the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Yeah.
Leading the ALMS championship standings. And if Kristensen wins here today, Bill, that certainly puts him in the catbird seat as far as locking up the driver's title.
It really would, and that's the other thing. Oh boy, Johnny got sideways there.
Quick move by Kristensen to close the gap.
I thought he was maybe going to take a stab and go underneath, but that was very good reactions on both.
Guys, don't forget, when they had the pit stops, the champion car was in the pits when the yellow flag was thrown. They decided not to take fresh rubber. The 2-car Kristensen came in under yellow, changed, and took 4 fresh tires. There's the difference. That's why the champion car is moving around.
Now that is one I don't understand at all. Remember last year that Johnny decided to put a fresh tire on the left front and gave great credit to that at the time of his being able to run up and catch up to the leaders at that point. So why not put 4 on, Martin?
Well, that's one of those split-second decisions a crew chief has to make on pit road under the gun. Jan Beekes, what are you hearing?
I checked with the team in regards to why they did not change tires. They were afraid of going this lap down that they're about to now, that they knew that if they didn't get the car out on the track immediately, they would have gone a complete lap down before the pace car hit the track. So they knew they're going to have to fight, and that's exactly what Johnny Herbert is doing.
Herbert's got the bit in his teeth trying to hold on against Kristensen. Kristensen leads, Herbert second, the gap not quite 1 lap. Back with more from Mosport in a moment. Today's NBC Sports coverage of the American Le Mans Series, the mail-to-web.com Grand Prix in Mosport, has been brought to you by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. And by Mazda, there's the soul of a sports car in everything we make. In Ontario's farm country, not too far from Lake Ontario, alongside Bill Adam, I'm Rick Benjamin, welcoming you to NBC Sports coverage of the American Le Mans Series. Easy for me to say. It's been a beautiful afternoon here. Great action everywhere. Johnny, look at this. Johnny Herbert in lap traffic, the 675 cars, sifting through them, heading to the Moss corner, still able to keep Kristensen at bay.
He's working the car so hard that you really see him sliding a lot more than what Tom Kristensen is. Again, because he has the older tires on it, they're just not gripping as well. Tom, I think, is wise at this point. He's biding his time. Does not have to pass. He already is in the lead. Passing would really be a luxury, and it's the final nail in the coffin.
Kristensen in that silver and yellow Audi. Car number 2. He's the overall leader. Nearly a lap ahead of the second place car, the white 38, driven by ex-Formula One pilot Johnny Herbert. Onto the front stretch here at Mosport with GT Porsches in front.
Now, this might be very interesting. They have to try and battle their way through 4 GT cars. Let's see how successfully they can get by a whole bunch of them here. Weaving and bobbing through them.
As we watch the GT Porsches, here comes Herbert leading Kristensen.
Oh boy.
The cycle Porsche, Hugh Plum in the 52.
Look at Johnny's on the outside of the track.
He's caught out there. And
Yep.
Look at Kristensen trying to get by 3 wide. And Herbert breaks free.
Boy, great job by Herbert. I thought he was just about dead in the water at that point because he's in the real gray area, the area of turn 3 with no grip at all, right on that outer edge.
In the final half hour, take a look at this. The 50 car, the Panos. Jan Magnussen really has the bit in his teeth. They've been nowhere all day. Magnussen has that car up in 4th now, with Brian Herner right behind him in 5th. Now, they are not on the lead lap. They're a couple of laps down, but Magnussen has done a great job to get a car that has not performed well all weekend up into the top 4 here.
Well, and he's my other all-star vote for best sports car driver in this series. I think he's just unbelievably great ability. And even though the car is less than good today, he still sticks his foot in it and tries 100% all the time. Very difficult to do.
Kristensen in the deuce.
You know, that was an interesting view right there, Rick. The difference in watching the Audis compared to watching the Panos, the amount of bouncing the cars do.
Now take a look at this. While we've been following the battle up front and the wreck with Pirro, there's been a huge sea change in the GT category. Brian Cunningham has taken the car he shares with Kevin Buckler. The Racers Group mailed to Webb Porsche, the 66, out in front of the Alex Job car, the 23, Sascha Maassen and Lucas Luhr. Now, they have dominated the entire season, the 2 Alex Job machines, the 22 and the 23. Cunningham making his 2nd drive with team owner Buckler. They have taken over the lead, apparently on the last pit stop exchange.
And I'll bet that Mr. Buckler's ribs are feeling a lot better right now, seeing his car in the lead.
So in GT, it's Cunningham in the 66 car out in front, then Maassen showing a lap back. And we'll check and see if they're actually just on the tail end of the lead lap in GT. And the 23 has wrecked. Maassen has put the 23 car into the tire barriers. Look at the damage there.
There's damage on the back. Did he get hit first, forcing him into the barrier?
And I wonder if that's why the lap gap has appeared on the scoring chart. Looked up a moment ago and saw that the 66 had taken the lead after the 23 had led all the way.
Now, if Kristensen has not got past Herbert, and if a pace car comes out, this could help Johnny.
Sascha backs the car off the tire barrier, but there's significant body damage to the left rear corner. Trying to get a read on where this happened on the racetrack. A couple of looks at it.
All by himself. That's up at the end of the straight. That's turn 8. Oh, man.
That's a hard hit.
Oh, boy, is that ever a...
Take a look back here.
Way back here.
You can see the dust rising as he comes through the turn 8, 9, and 10 complex.
Gee. That could very easily be a 130-mile-an-hour hit.
It's amazing to me, and that's a testimony to how strong these Porsche GT machines are, the GT3Rs, that he's able to drive that car back to the pits. Obviously, he's got wheel toe problems on all 4 corners.
Well, you know, it looks fine. Even the rear wing, I don't see any damage on that. And other than the bodywork being torn up, I think the car is okay.
He hit at a very high rate of speed, Bill. It's a soft wall, but still.
I'm taking a quick check of the exhaust system. Peeling some pieces.
Martin Haven is there.
Well, guys, everybody obviously worried about the content of the car. But despite that little bit of cosmetic damage, it looks as though they are happy for it to continue. Now, in 2 corners at low speed coming back off the grass, I'm not sure how much he felt, but obviously he felt that everything was ready to go. And a quick visual check will tell him that. We may see him back in a lap if he feels the car's not safe on the racetrack. Looks like both Alex Job cars are cosmetic damaged, but still running.
The driver's door just blew off the car, Martin.
Talk about blowing your doors off. It just happened.
There is heavy damage to that car. I mean, he hit at such a high rate of speed. There has to be more going on under that race car, and we saw the driver's door come flying off.
I'm still not sure. I think that maybe the door, the hinges could have been weakened by that impact.
Well, the left front wheel, Bill, is canted in at quite an angle. I think there's something wrong with the front end of that race car. Here it is as Sascha Maassen comes off pit road.
Boy, oh boy.
One of the more spectacular incidents you'll see. And here comes the Panos.
Panos, yeah. That could have been really dangerous if that happened.
Just flew right in front of him.
Yep.
Sascha will bring the car around. He'll have to come to pit road, I'm certain, with that door coming off on the driver's side. No yellow flag waving as yet.
You know, I don't think there's anything in the regulations that say you have to complete the race with both doors. It's going to make it a lot cooler for Sascha to drive, and it will affect the high-speed aerodynamics quite a bit because he's not going to get good clean airflow up across that rear wing any longer. But the car actually looks pretty good.
I would think, though, IMSA officials would be concerned about the safety factor of not having the sheet metal out there. Well, we'll see what happens. Here comes Sascha Maassen. Now, they are not in the lead.
And he's staying out. Good boy, Sascha.
They're shown second in the class, now 2 laps behind Brian Cunningham and Kevin Buckler. And here comes Maassen down the front straightaway. I cannot believe that as hard as he hit that tire barrier at the end of the backstretch, that he is still on the racetrack. Back to Martin Haven.
Well, guys, we're watching the pictures down in the Alex Joe pit with Lucas Luhr. Lucas, you're feeling a little better now than you were earlier on, I guess.
Yeah, I felt, you know, I found out today that to drive a race car is the best medicine what you can get, so. I'm still a little bit sick, but I feel better than this morning. And I really have to say thanks to the medical team here, because this morning when I woke up, I said, I do today everything except driving a car. And they fixed me, so really thanks for that.
Well, now we've just seen the door come off the car. Sascha has just gone off fairly quickly, but he's not coming back in. What about the effects of having no door on the car? Is that going to really be a distraction for him?
I think it's a help because he has more air in the car and it's not so hot in the car. And the spot where he went off is really dangerous because it's really fast. And I think there must be some oil or something because otherwise Sascha wouldn't do a mistake. So, but I hope we can finish the race like this now. We are second. For the championship is a good situation anyway.
Well, 2 brave guys, Lucas Luhr coming off the deathbed and Sascha Maassen coming out of the tyres. Jan Beekers has more from further down pit road.
I do. Martin, while you were doing that interview, I spoke with IMSA officials to find out what is the situation on the door, and Bill, you're correct. They will not black flag him. If he were to make a pit stop, they would want them to put on a new door, but since he will not be stopping again today, they say he can run without that door.
That's good. I think the only thing that may be in question is if the door weighed 400 pounds, the car be way underweight at the end of the race, but they're lucky. It's all carbon fiber.
Unbelievable turn of events here. As usual this weekend, the up-and-coming stars of the Star Mazda Series have been busy, a support role to the ALMS. They ran yesterday afternoon at Mosport, a 26-lap event. As always at Mosport, the battle into one, a tight one between Guy Cosmo, Moses Smith, and the rest of the field. Early on, contender Justin Pruskowski would spin at Moss Corner. The battle for the lead, a tough one up the back straightaway. Still Cosmo and Smith. Brian Willman would lose his chance at victory, spinning the 59, just missing the cement barrier. And late in the race, Cosmo's teammate Dan Whalen would go off into the grass as well. That would give Cosmo the opportunity to cruise to an easy win at Mosport. We'll be back with more of the American Le Mans Series after this. American Le Mans Series on NBC Sports from Mosport Park in Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada. Final few minutes of the mail2web.com Grand Prix at Mosport. We'll be with you non-stop till the checkered flag. The final 16, 17 minutes of racing today. And car number 2, your overall leader, and the Audi, the Team Yost car, Tom Kristensen, on his way to what would be his 3rd win of the season with Dindo Capello. He is the driving championship leader, and this will go a long way towards setting Tom up to perhaps claim this year's American Le Mans Series overall driver's crown. Started in 2nd spot. 18 minutes till the checkered flag, and we will not be stopping for another commercial break. So we'll have you with us till conclusion here today at Mosport Park.
Yeah, maybe it's quite fitting that Tom is finally going to get his victory today, if all continues as it currently is, because he is about the only one of the drivers that hasn't won. 2 years ago it was McNeish and Capello, and last year, of course, Biella and Pirro won it, so Tom's the last one to get his trophy.
Take a look again at the 675 prototypes. The Team Bucknam entry. Chris McMurray driving the 56 car now. The Fairy Tale Brown.
Oh, no!
Another GT Porsche. The Cycle Motorsport 52 has wrecked hard. Peter Burgess driving the 52. Big impact into the concrete. Damage at both ends of the car. Is that coming down the hill, Bill, toward turn 4?
I thought it was actually coming out of, well, here we're going to get a better look. It's turn 2, so he would have crested the hill, and you can see some marks right. Well,
Sure can. The Cycle Motorsport Porsche with a hard hit into the concrete.
Now, as the cars come up to turn 2, they all get light over the crest. So,
Burgess in the 52 car, still sitting
right
inside.
there.
You see the water pouring out of that
although
car.
it's soaking into the ground, it's not going to go on the racetrack.
No. Take another look at how this happened. Bill, you've always said 2 is one of the most dangerous places on this storied racetrack.
It is indeed. Now here we have a whole bunch of cars coming towards us, and let's just see if the number.
Contact.
Yes, way before.
He got hit by the Cadillac, it appeared. He took a shot and appeared from one of the prototypes.
Glancing blows there, but I think this one's going to hurt more.
Hit both walls, left and then right across the track. And we've seen that several times today. It's always a factor in this sort of racing. Burgess out of the car, okay. You can see the Hans device there. Always a factor when the slower GT and GTS cars are being passed by the prototypes. There were 3 of them going by at that particular point of the track.
It's very difficult. I mean, you want to try and devote as much of your concentration, as much of your attention to what's out in front of you, but for the GT and GTS class, and even some of the slower LMP cars, you have to watch the mirrors on a regular basis. Now let's take a look at the right front corner. Yeah, it looks like a little piece of that winglet is off the Cadillac. So
we're under full
just
course
right
caution
in that right
once
front
again.
corner. It's just like somebody's taking a little bite out of that carbon fiber winglet.
You could just barely see from that long camera shot we had, but you could see that the 52 changed direction abruptly as the 8 came up on him. Max Angelilli in the 8 car. One of the 2 North Star caddies running 3rd overall. Just enough of a touch to send the car into the wall.
It probably surprised Max too, because that's not something that you normally want to do, is drift over to the over to that side of the track at that point for a GT car.
Kristensen continues to lead in the Team Yost Audi, the number 2. Johnny Herbert 2nd in the ADT Champion 38. Angelilli 3rd in the Caddy. And there's the Alex Job 23 car with Sascha Maassen. They have been the dominant force in GT. And Martin Haven on pit road, now we're hearing they are going to bring that car back in.
Well, in fact, they have. They only just beat the safety car out of the pit lane. They put 4 new tyres on it. The problem that the officials had with no door was, you see in the opening there's a cross brace which stops anything really heavy coming in. The problem with no window there is that it doesn't stop the driver potentially flailing out of the car if he gets knocked from the opposite side. So they brought him in, they put one of the window safety nets back in the side where the door would normally be hiding it. The problem is now they can't talk to Sascha Maassen. Either that or he's concentrating too much to answer. They've been waving headsets at him over the pit wall as he came by, but the car at least has got fresh tyres, still seems to have all the wheels pointing in roughly in the right direction. Hopefully for Alex Job Racing, this might be the last time we talk from their pit for the foreseeable future.
Jeez.
Martin,
Pretty sure.
Question for you. We were hearing that they were going to require them to put another door on the car just a moment ago. Did IMSA wave that off?
Well, we've had 3 different varieties of this. First of all, no problem, doesn't need a door unless you're going to make the pit stop, as we said earlier. Secondly, yeah, okay, go and find another door, put it on. Thirdly, they said, okay, safety restraining net, that'll do the deal. That'll stop the driver's arm flailing out and potentially causing, aggravated injuries. So I think they settled for the happy medium between full door and no door. And there you go. I mean, officials all over the world, they all have a different take of things, but I think that is very much the judgment of Solomon there.
Yeah, I like that too. I think that's a wise way to look at it, because putting a door on might increase the aesthetic value, but I'd rather watch them.
Well, you're getting a good look. It's now an open cockpit race car. That's the door off the 23 car. We saw it come blowing off at the exit of pit road.
Buy it at a greatly reduced price.
I bet you could.
It's a special on this afternoon. I'm sure some fan will get it.
I was going to say it'd be a souvenir that some fan here will cherish. Huge crowd at Mosport Park for the return of the American Le Mans Series. Biggest crowd here in 25 years since
I think there's
Formula 1 raced here.
Going to be a lot of little kids down on the outside of turn 1 just lusting after that door right now.
We're 12 minutes, 45 seconds away from the checkered flag. Full course caution for the 4th time today. I want to give a call to the Panos prototype team in the 900 category. 4th and 5th overall. They have persevered. They have not been the fastest cars by any stretch of the imagination. They were deep in the field. They were 8th and 10th at one point not very long ago. They've chased it all weekend long, but the 2 Panos teams have gotten up into the top 5. Let's get an update again from pit road. Jan Bikus.
A pit stop for the Saline, which we have heard about the wheel-related problems, so they're going to take the opportunity to make sure they are nice and tight. And in fact, they are checking. Oh, you can see that is loose. No question, the right front is loose. They are trying to tighten it, but once a wheel becomes loose on the racetrack, it oftentimes damages the threads. So they continue to have problems here with this Saleen, even though they've had 2 different types of wheel manufacturers and try to keep these wheels on the car.
And they lost, of course, the left front wheel yesterday. Team owner Franz Conrad was at the wheel. He guided the car off the track safely. There's Franz talking to the crewman. You can hear Bill, he's just squeezing that air wrench. Doesn't seem to be tightening the jam, not at all. Take another look at it. Here's what happened as the left front wheel came off, going downhill toward turn 3 and 4.
That is strange. We've seen that happen a number of times. It's quite curious that they haven't been able to solve that problem yet.
Another look you'll see as we pull the camera back. There's the loose wheel going down toward the tire barrier. Franz got the car onto the grass. Not much damage. That was yesterday afternoon. They were able to put the car back together, qualify it on the pole in GTS. Terry Borcheller did. Now the team taking the wheel back off. They have 2 different brands of wheel that they're using, and we were told it was the OZ wheel that seemed to be working a little better as far as being able to stand. But if they've stripped those threads, Bill.
It sure looks like they have too. Look at that. The crewman can't turn it on there very well by hand. Look at how tight it is already. Well, maybe jam it on and hope for the best.
Not much time to go. 10 minutes, 40 seconds. Full course caution for the 4th time because of this big wreck involving the Cycle Motorsports Porsche in GT, the 52 car. On the back of the hook, another look now as they come out of the corner and pit out. Take a look. That's the white car on the right. Boom.
Yeah, just too many square feet of car trying to occupy too little space on the road.
Tony Burgess from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The driver, Jeff Pabst from Aurora, Ontario. And GT veteran Hugh Plum from Pennsylvania sharing that car today. And that car took a heavy shot. It hit both the inside and outside retaining wall. And that's why we're under full course caution. Been an interesting weekend here. Coming soon to tracks near you, the Super Trucks Racing Association of North America, Strana. These purpose racing semi-tractors set to begin in conjunction with the ALMS next year. Big rigs based on a European Super Truck series that's been running nearly 2 decades. And Bill, you were taking a ride here.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Had a chance to drive something that I never dreamt I would ever drive in my life. And I've driven race cars that handled like trucks, but I've never driven a race truck. It was very interesting, surprisingly good, although the size of it is just overwhelming.
What, 12,000 pounds? Yeah, I got to take a ride as well. I was hoping my wife wouldn't see this today, but now my secret's out.
Yippee!
It was something to feel that slide. Mike Ryan, who normally drives this particular truck in hill climb competition, was at the wheel. And what, 1,200 horsepower, twin turbos.
Yeah, 2,000 pounds of torque.
Lots of horsepower. Looked like we're getting ready for a restart. Let's find out more about Emanuele Pirro's situation. Martin.
Well, Pirro was temporarily unconscious in the Audi when he hit the tyre barrier. He's regained consciousness, and from the Infield Medical Centre, they're sending him to hospital for precautionary checkup. Anytime you get a blow to the brain box like that, obviously that's very much in everybody's minds, just to make sure he's perfectly okay. He is talking, he is relaxed, no damage at all, no broken bones from that crumpled up front end.
As we climb on board one of the Cadillacs. Ready for a restart here. Just heading down toward the backstretch here.
Moss Corner.
Now, mail2web.com has been the title sponsor of the Grand Prix of Mosport. It's a Toronto-based technology company giving fans and team members a chance to check email for free from the paddock area at ALMS events all season long. This is CEO Tony Houston, who says his company is looking for a way to allow teams to use their technology on pit road on race day as well. Mail2web.com jumping on board also with Kevin Buckler's Racers Group Porsche team. There's Kevin taking a look at his email over the weekend at one of the computers on the Mail2Web trailer.
That is a handy thing. And boy, when I get back home after being away for a week or so, I've usually got 500 pieces of junk mail sitting in my email. So it'd be nice to use this to delete everything before I get home.
Absolutely. With 7 minutes, 40 seconds to go in the action here at the Grand Prix of Mosport, the mail2web.com Grand Prix of Mosport. The remaining cars on the racetrack cleaning their tires. There's the Alex Joe McKenna Zybernaut Porsche, Sascha Maassen. They've taken their lumps here today. I am still stunned, Bill, at the speed. We saw the hit that Sascha took into the tire barrier at the end of the backstretch. Seemed to be at very high speed. It's amazing. Lost a door. The driver's door came off the car. amazing to me that car is able to continue to race here today.
It is incredible. We've talked a number of times this year, last year as well, about the strength of the Audi, but the strength of the Porsche is not to be overlooked either. They've got this rich racing history of endurance wins, and for very good reason. That's one of them right there.
Restart. Green is back in the air with less than 7 minutes to go. Kristensen leading Herbert. 1 lap the gap. The 2 over the 38.
And what must be running through everybody on the champion ADT team's mind right now, thinking about what if Johnny didn't have that stop and go?
Riding with Herbert. Take a look at the BBS wheels telemetry.
It's 100 miles an hour going through turn 3, and then watch that acceleration. Just so smooth. It's like a video game. It's just so fast.
Yeah, Beekes?
Well, Bill, you said what if he hadn't had a stop and go penalty. The team is now saying what if that full course caution had come 2 laps earlier. He was able to hold off Tom Kristensen until only, in their view, 2 or 3 laps before they got the full course caution. Had he been able to stay in front, of course, he would have been able to join the tail end of the lead lap. They could have even pitted and taken tires, but now, obviously, he's stuck battling with the Panos.
Boy, and I'll tell you, there was something pretty impressive right there, that one of the Panoses, as we were on board with Johnny, came up and passed him.
Herbert's helmet cam. This is the driver's eye view up onto the front stretch here at Mosport. Herbert is second.
I've got a feeling at the speed with which the Panos is pulling away, I think Johnny is going to sit back and accept second place gracefully at this point. He knows that with his tires going away, he really can't run to try and challenge Kristensen. And Tom does have the 1 lap lead. There's no benefit for Johnny to try and run real hard at this point.
Kristensen leading. Herbert is second. Kristensen leading the Drivers' Championship coming in here by just 2 points over Dindo Capello. One of his Audi teammates actually shares the 2-car with him. Back riding with Herbert.
I love this, the BBS telemetry.
Herbert was 19 points behind Kristensen coming into the action here today, and finishing second to Tom will not help his cause with 3 races left in the season.
Beautiful rolling countryside at this track. This used to be a much more abrupt lip right there at the top of the straight. Cars actually were taking off. One of the reasons that they decided to increase the safety of this track so much, and they graded the hump out of it. Took away some of the glamour, but made it a lot more
driver friendly.
A lot more driver friendly for sure.
You might have gotten a glimpse a moment ago. Jan Magnussen wheeling the Panos 50 car by Herbert up the backstretch. Herbert solidly second. Magnussen another lap or 2 back of Herbert at this late juncture. A couple of laps remaining here. 4 minutes to go.
Boy, look at this. Jan Magnussen running 1:10s in that Panos. They haven't had that thing going that fast for the last 3 days.
He's on pace with the leader Kristensen. Too little, too late, but certainly to get to 4th with that car, very strong, and here he comes.
He's having fun right now, and I think he would do nothing other than love to pass Kristensen before the end of the race.
Now, both of these cars on Michelin tires. It's been the dominant tire brand in the series since its inception in 1999. I want to show you a bit of information about just how dominant the Michelin tire brand has been in the American Le Mans series over time. In the 900 prototypes and basically overall, the Michelin 33 wins, 1 for Yokohama. And in the GTS category in 34 events, Michelin leads there too. Over Goodyear by 2. And in GT, again, no contest. So that shows you, since the inception of the series, just how strong a tire the Michelin brand has been for the American Le Mans series.
It has been amazing. I love watching Magnussen. It's so fun. Here he is after almost 3 hours of racing. He's out there and he's still got the bit deeply embedded between his teeth. He wants to go for it, really wants to race hard, would love to pass the car that's probably going to be the winning car.
Kristensen and the Deuce is out in front. Here's Herbert riding with the ADT champion team. Herbert out of Great Britain in second. Third belongs to one of the Cadillacs, Max Angelilli in the 8 car. Car that JJ Leto started here today. JJ told us going into the race that it's a car that has had its teething problems, certainly. Brand new car early this year. 3rd year of the Cadillac program and final year, as it turns out. And they finally had a car this weekend. JJ said, hey, I can race this car. And it has been a good day. In the 675 prototypes, the lead has fallen again to the Team Bucknam, the Fairy Tale Brownies car, the 56. Chris McMurray is driving that Pilbeam chassis with a Nissan V6 motor. Melanie Patterson and the Essex Racing 19, 4 laps down. David Sternberg and the Archangel 13 car, a couple of laps further back. Marc-Antoine Cameron and Ben Devlin also driving the 13 car. And the GT situation, Brian Cunningham, not Peter Cunningham, yeah. Brian Cunningham with the 66. And a little battle here of the 2 Alex Job cars and the 43 of the Yes Network Orbit Racing Porsche. Cunningham leading, Peter Barron with Leo Hendry fighting with Sascha Maassen for second. They're 3 laps down, but look at this. The 43 car has the spot. The Job cars have had their troubles today. 43 car on track to perhaps score a second spot. Young Peter Barron at the wheel doing a great job here.
But based on what we watched at Trois Rivières, where Sascha Maassen he did such a job on his own teammate to win that race and showed that despite all the heat, that this veteran was not ready to. Oh, and here he's going to try a pass going up into 10. No, he's not. Changed his mind at the last minute, maybe playing a little bit of a fake game.
Barron able to hold him off. This could be the last time around. A minute 10 remaining.
I think Maassen is so crafty, he can't make it here.
Barron able to hold him off down into 1. Leo Hendry sharing that 43 car. The other Job car is right there as well, although not in the fight for position. Leader has just taken the white flag, so 1 lap to go. The overall leader, Kristensen.
Interesting for the Job cars. Do you let your own teammate pass to maybe do a block for you? Might be something.
On board with Barron, this is the Yes Network car.
Boy, it looks like he is not getting rattled at all.
Doing a great job.
Sascha going up the outside.
Maassen. Remember that the Job drivers are factory back drivers. See if Barron runs him out of
contact.
road.
He did too.
There is contact.
Absolutely.
Peter Barron refusing to give ground here, and here comes the leader, Kristensen, to make things interesting.
I think he knocked Maassen right off the track.
Maassen comes back on the inside.
There he is.
There he is. That is the other car. That is Maassen. It was Björk Bergmeister.
Well, you know what? I think that Barron deserves a penalty for that one. You have to give somebody racing room, and he did not.
Peter Barron with an opportunity to finish second. Would be the best finish of the year for the Yes team. And he was not going to give up. Here comes your leader, Kristensen. Checkered flag is in the air. Tom Kristensen and Dindo Capello will score their 3rd win of the season. Little brake smoke there as Kristensen goes by start-finish. Back on the racetrack, Sascha Maassen in car number 23, the Alex Job McKenna Zybernaut Porsche. Hardly a square inch of the body. We're clean. Here it is again.
And I'll bet you, Maassen will be livid here because watch this. As Barron goes through the corner, he has to allow Maassen room. He does not. Look where he's going. He's pointing the car over in this direction.
Runs Maassen out of racetrack, and he just saves it. Just saves it from going into the tires. Wow. So Peter Barron, for now at least, shown in 2nd spot in GT. Kristensen, your overall winner at the Grand Prix of Mosport. We'll be back to talk to the winners. Welcome back to Mosport Park in Canada on NBC Sports. Coverage of the American Le Mans Series, the mail-to-web.com Grand Prix. Checkered flag falls over Tom Kristensen, Dindo Capello for the 3rd time this season. Johnny Herbert, Stefan Johansson finished 2nd in the ADT champion car. And the Cadillac gets on the podium. J.J. Leto and Max Angelilli in car number 8, the first ever podium for the Cadillac LMP 900 program. Jan Beekes in Victory Lane.
Celebrating the teammates standing on the car. It was a tough street fight out there today. While Tom Kristensen gets its helmet off, I'm going to have a quick word with Dindo Capello. Tell me early on, it was certainly a street fight out there about the contact with a Alex Job Porsche early on.
Yeah, Frankie overtook the Porsche on the right, and I'm sure that the driver, I was not, I don't know who was the driver in that moment. He was trying to let him room. He didn't see me on the left, and when he changed the line, he touched a little bit on my, I think, rear right. But okay, nothing happened. I was a little bit afraid, but after 2 corners, I felt that the car was okay. I could push, and I could took the lead.
Well, obviously, both these 2 guys push. A great day for Audi. Let's go to Martin Haven.
Yeah, Brian Cunningham in the mail-to-web Racers Group Porsche. The sponsor on the car, the sponsor of the race, your first American Le Mans victory must be a sweet moment.
Actually, I hate to correct you, it's a second Le Mans victory. I won at BMW my first race at Road Atlanta. But listen, it's a great job. Porsche put together a great effort. Mail to Web, I can't thank enough. You couldn't ask for anything better here at their home race, and to win in 3 races is fantastic with Porsche.
Well, you had a very undramatic race. All the other guys fell by the wayside. What was the secret?
I mean, sometimes they say you have to be lucky rather than good. We were lucky and good today, and I can't ask for anything more.
Nor can the sponsor. And with the GTS winner, Ron Fellows, here's Jan Beekes.
And his timing is perfect. He climbs from the car. Of course, the local hero here, a lot of support. Johnny O'Connell coming up to give the congratulations for GTS. These guys are on a roll. But unfortunately, the only record that the streak he didn't keep going was qualifying, but now that doesn't seem like a big deal.
No, you know, that's one lap. That's what counts is winning the race, and especially here at home. Johnny, terrific job as always. The crew, awesome pit stop. Well, boy, this is great. I'm dedicating this to Doug Fairchild. We're carrying a decal for him, Competition Tire Canada guy. Yeah, this is great. I mean, this was really good. You know, the weather worked out for us. Goodyear's hard compound tire was really awesome, and boy, that was good. I tell you what, that was a lot of fun racing Terry, and don't give up a thing. We give it over to Johnny, and when I got back in, we had a lap lead, so it was awesome.
Well, congratulations, guys. Nice job, Martin.
Chris McMurray, you led a Nissan-engined 1-2-3 in the 675 class. Those MG Lolas look high-tech, but you guys are still here at 2 3/4 hours later.
Well, we were just talking about, was it Woody Allen that said 80% of it's just showing up? We're editing it and saying just showing up at the end. Drivers did great. The ending was really quite easy. I want to say hi to Bobby and the kids, Colin, Matt, Matthew, and to everybody else's kids, Spencer, Ashley, Suzanne, Ginny. It was great. Fairy Tale Brownies, thanks a lot.
So tell me about the car. Obviously, the MGs are very much the quick car, but this car has got reliability. It's got time on its side in terms of development. What's it like to drive, though, in amongst the faster prototypes?
Well, I think you got to be in your mirrors. You got to be watching. I got hip checked one time by the champion Audi. Almost put me in the tires. So you got to be careful. You know, we've got some development things going on with the engine and the tire and some brake issues, and I think once we get that all solved, we'll be right up there with the other 675s.
Well, right up there with the other 675s. You mean the guys who are packing the trailers? Yeah, good job. Well done indeed. Now, meanwhile, Jan Beekes with a very happy JJ Leto.
Yes, and JJ Leto with the Cadillac first podium. But for you, a major frustrating day when you sat in the car and the fuel took so long.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was something wrong, you know, with the fueling, and you know, I thought that, you know, we take a little gamble and we don't change the tires, but then the fueling took so long time that the Audi guys, you know, they changed the tires and they changed the fuel and everything, and they got out before us, so we lost a lot because of that. Okay, we didn't change the tires, maybe that was a mistake, but if we would have changed the tires after fueling, we would have lost it anyway, so it was a little bit frustrating. Okay, the first team was very good and we were competitive, we were giving hard time for Audi, and that was the first time the Cadillac was working really well, and I'm very, very happy with the whole thing.
All right, congratulations. Looks like that car is getting faster and faster.
And maybe some impetus for someone else to pick those cars up and make some use of them after this season, Bill.
I agree. I mean, it breaks my heart thinking that Cadillac themselves are not going to extend this program because, again, to go back and look, you've got a car maker who's been building 2-ton luxury cars their entire life, suddenly come into performance cars and challenge Audi, and to be getting this close. Oh, it's tantalizing.
But they say they will be back. New rules for 2004, and the factory of the Cadillac Everett does plan to continue perhaps in GT or GTS. We shall see as we run through our final results. Good day for many of these competitors. We've talked to the winners, and we'll be with you. Next series event comes up in September, the 22nd, Sunday afternoon from Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Hope you can join us for the Monterey Grand Prix here on NBC Sports. Be sure to join NBC Sports on that day. It is coming up in 5 weeks from today, September 22nd at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Our American Le Mans Series coverage continues with the Monterey Sports Car Championships from the famed Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in Monterey, California. We anticipate that. Coming up next on NBC Sports, final match of the RCA Tennis Championships from Indianapolis, Indiana. For Bill Adam, Martin Haven, and Jan Beekes, I'm Rick Benjamin saying so long from the mail-to-web.com Grand Prix at Mosport, where your winners once again for the third time this year, Rinaldo, Capello, and Tom Kristensen in the Team Yost Audi, car number 2. Thanks for joining us today. You've been watching the American Le Mans Series on NBC Sports. We'll see you next time.